it's 13, and I have a confession to make. As some of you guys may have known, I'm already 27 years old, and I have been gaming for most of my life. And as Charlie would say, I put nuts to butts. But there's a list of games that I have been actively avoiding like it's the last piece of moldy bread in the bottom drawer of your refrigerator. And as you guys may have guessed from the title, it's Elden Ring, along with its Dark/Demon Souls brothers, as well as all of the other ones. But you're probably asking, why? And don't get me wrong, Elden Ring is a really good game, but I just haven't come around to getting good, as the Souls fans would say. So stick around and watch till the end of the video to see what it's like finishing Elden Ring as a total beginner. This video was made with the support of my patrons and subscribers. Consider giving this video a like and subscribe to my channel. More info in the description and comments below. In total, this death-tacular adventure took 10 days to finish, so we'll be breaking this down on a day-to-day basis. But before starting this whole journey, I've set myself up with a rule that I will follow throughout the entirety of the game. And that rule is, I won't be googling any walkthroughs or information regarding the game. I'll only be relying on what I know about the game and my experience playing other Souls games. Basically, I'll be going in blind as a bat. And I'll also be playing the game in offline mode since I don't want to see any of the messages on the floor that could possibly tip me off, as well as get help from other players or be interrupted by other players. So, let's start this journey, shall we? Day 1 basically was me learning the quirks of the game, the in-universe jargon, and all of the other stuff that I could learn along the way. Character creation started with me questioning why exactly do characters not start at level 1, and me choosing the Vagabond as my starter. After creating a discount Violet Evergarden, I started the game, and as the intro was playing, my only real thought was, I have no idea who these people are, and I have no idea why I should care. But don't worry, the game will make me care soon enough. I went out of the starting area and realized that my dodge roll is hideously bad, as I was trying to destroy random boxes Legend of Zelda style. After receiving the classic British greeting of getting stabbed, I died and woke up to a horse and a girl talking about stuff that I absolutely still had no idea about. I jumped down into the Cave of Knowledge, killed a bunch of guys, and failed to do a guard counter on a boss. And with that, I finally got out and marveled at the majesty of the lands between. But not before I went around the building that I just got out of to look for secret loot. After complaining extensively about Souls games not telling you where to go, I got my face slapped by the game telling me that the sites of grace basically show you where you should go. So much for that complaint. I also did not know that I should talk to NPCs multiple times until I exhaust their dialogue. I'm so used to games that have NPCs talk until they're done talking that it didn't really cross my mind to talk to Vare once he was done talking the first time. The only reason I knew about this was because I wanted to talk to him to listen to what he has to say once again, since I missed some of what he said the first time. I was told to go to Castle Stormveil to square up with Godric the Grafted. With the name and the place known, I went to go see him and kill his ass, but not before I talked to Cypher from Valorant.
That you're not after my throat.
I bought a crafting kit that I barely used and talked to him a few times, and off I went to kill more knights Metal Gear style. Though I got sidetracked and went inside Groveside Cave and immediately got killed by wolves. I managed to kill the Beastman and I got a talisman that gives you fire resistance. It was a pretty underwhelming reward, but to be honest, it's whatever. At another side of Grace, Melina offered me a Honda, though not the Accord that I was thinking of. The Accord she offered was actually a horse and she helped me use my runes as stats. Unfortunately, I had no idea what stat to put on for fear of not being able to min-max properly, so I opted to put one of each on Vigor, Endurance, and Strength, because I'm indecisive like that. After picking up the sword that I'm about to use for almost half of the run, I killed all of the knights in the ruins, picked up a map, a wet blade, and killed the Discount Titan from Attack on Titan. I got sidetracked and decided to kill the Tree Sentinel while on horseback. This is going to be a running theme throughout the entire video, aside from being lost. After killing the Tree Sentinel, I talked to this lady along the way to Stormveil Castle. Unfortunately, I got caught off by this George R.R. Martin and Miyazaki looking nightmare called Margit, who of course wants to fight me, and after removing almost half of his health, I fell down a cliff and yelled, "Oh come on, that's bullshit!" And after dying a few times to him, Melina, the Honda giver, sent me to the round table hold. I talked to a bunch of dudes, a blacksmith, and got hugged by a woman. Apart from the risk of dying to multitudes of beings, I'd say the lands between ain't so bad. After getting killed by Albric inside the round table hold, I went back to killing Margit. Unfortunately, I'm not good enough to kill him, so I went outside to farm runes to over-level myself. And this is assuming the bosses don't scale with your level. Fortunately, as far as I know, the game doesn't do this. So after reaching level 19, I pretty much tried fighting him again, but I failed miserably. I was feeling pretty frustrated at this point, so I called it quits and called it a day. Day 2 started with me once again over-leveling myself, killing a bunch of titans, a dragon, and whatever it is that can give me more runes. While adventuring, I discovered a cave full of smithing stones near the place where I killed the dragon, and I also met Ronnie. She gave me a bell that can summon ashes, which at the time I had no idea how to use. I upgraded my Lordsorn Greatsword to +3, leveled myself up to 22, and readied myself for another beatdown session with Margit. After finally learning how to use the bell that Ronnie gave me and an hour's worth of fighting Margit, I finally managed to kill him.
Deal with it, bitch! Deal with it!
I went inside the castle, but I doubted the guy next to the gate, so I tried going into the castle through the gates, and I got blasted by arrows that are a meter long. That's 3.2 feet for you Americans. This pretty much forced me to take the scenic route, where I got accosted by birds the size of a person. After coming to grips with the reality that gravity is a bitch a few times, I finally got out of there and pushed myself further inside Stormveil Castle. I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of sites of grace in this area in particular, so I became more and more paranoid of dying since I'm gonna have to do all of this shit again. Anyway, with this in mind, I went inside the dark room and got myself killed. After managing to reach the top of the area, I found a site of grace where I could finally level up the runes I had, and after dying a whole lot to the knights with fart powers, I stopped recording, lost my patience, and Alt F4 the crap out of the game. Day 3 was pretty much just me trying to survive the gauntlet that is Stormveil Castle, without using my already limited flasks, of which I only have 5, after unlocking this elevator and finally giving myself a shorter path to wherever it is that I need to go. I tried squaring up with the dude that killed me in the intro of the game, but once again, I got stabbed to death. To be honest, the only reason why I'm squaring up against this dude is because I thought I was gonna get bodied by the loads upon loads of enemies outside this stupid fucking door, until I realized that screaming Leroy Jenkins and killing them one by one is also a viable option. After aimlessly running around inside Stormveil Castle, I managed to find Godric, which took a solid 30 to 40 minutes of running around this maze-like castle. With the help of my wolves, I eventually took down Godric.
The Lord of all that is.
After an hour and a half of repeatedly dying to him, and quite frankly, I kinda fear what other bosses will be like in the near future. It'd probably take me a good 3 hours of trying to kill a boss repeatedly to even feel progress. After killing Godric, I finally got out of Stormveil Castle to reach Lyran of the Lakes. Unfortunately, after killing Godric, I only squeezed 3 levels out of the runes he gave, which is fucking bullshit, not gonna lie. But I guess Elden Ring kinda operates like real life. You know, unfair. I adventured throughout the lake and looked for where the map of the area is. After finding the said map though, I noticed that there were a lot of mobs chasing me and was spawning out of every crevice of the area. I didn't really like the idea of dying to lowly mobs, so I more or less just got the fuck out of there after coming across a random stone that teleported me to a huge fuck off gate that blocked my adventuring. The gate was sealed and it told me I needed a glintstone key. Fortunately, I got a map that probably pointed out where the glintstone key would be. Though when I saw the map, I checked my own map and I thought it was in another place completely. I thought this was Stormveil Castle and I had to get to some river next to it, but I wasn't really in the mood anymore to do some more treasure hunting off an incomplete map, so I decided to call it a night and got myself out of there. Day 4 was a pretty quick day to me. Killed a bunch of knights, killed what looks like a tank in Elden Ring, talked to an old lady about fingers, ventured out into a sunken town, and discovered a sleeping dragon. After doing the math, thinking that I can take on the dragon while I was incredibly underleveled, and mind you, my math skills is on par with an infant with brain damage. And after hitting him and seeing how little damage I made, I decided to get the items behind him, and to my absolute surprise, the glintstone key was there. I shit you not, I did not expect it to be there at all. Anyway, since I got the glintstone key and since my objective was already achieved, I said fuck it and tried to fight Smaragd the magic dragon, where he immediately burned me to ash with his stupidly wide blue fire. After dying to him, however, I made a beeline back to the gate and ventured through the Academy of Raya Lucaria and found one of the many discount Burger King mascots throughout the academy. After getting ambushed by these upstanding British citizens, I went to this moving elevator thing that immediately reminded me of the clock tower from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I ran around once again, aimlessly, but the map was kinda designed in a way that it would funnel you towards where you need to go, and I knew this because the place directed me towards another boss. Unfortunately, before I can get to his room, I had to square up against dozens of these Burger King mascots, and after dying to them a good 1 to 3 times like an absolute idiot, I realized that you can just run past them and you won't get hit, which was hilarious because I tried fighting the dog after getting beat up by the magical Burger King guards, which left me with 2 flask charges, which was absolutely meaningless against him since I pretty much died within the first 30 seconds of the fight without even having a chance to use all of the flask charges that I had. At this point, I'm gonna beat Mike Tyson's highlight reel for the quickest knockout ever. In day 5, I decided instead of dying 1 million times to an enemy that I couldn't possibly defeat and wasting my time, I took to the streets of the lands between and became an absolute fucking menace, in the hopes of gaining enough runes to become over-leveled for my upcoming fight against Radagon the Magic Wolf, or whatever his name was. As my pockets were filled with the runes gathered from my fallen enemies, I became covered by the blood of those whom I slayed. Fancy writing aside, it's pretty nice that you can get all bloodied up in this game. I didn't expect you could even get this level of blood on your clothes. I was killing so much dudes that I eventually reached the Weeping Peninsula, killed a guy on a horse, and some dick who was camping in front of this castle. I ventured into the castle with the hopes of finding a boss that's easy enough to kill, and yes, that's the mindset that I was in a Souls game. Never mind the fact that every single enemy can most likely kill you in the game, but expecting any boss to be easy is a stupid mindset to be in and of itself. Soon enough, I spotted the piss-colored entrance to the boss room, and found Leonin Misbegotten, which hilariously enough I was able to kill on the first try. Die, bitch. So much for Elden Ring bosses being hard, right guys? Right? Anyway, for my efforts, I was able to collect a measly 12,000 runes, which is shit, not gonna lie. It only managed to give me 1 level. Oh well, at least I got a sword that I'm never gonna use. And with that disappointment of a weapon and boss out of the way, off I went to visit a minor Erd Tree out of curiosity. Luckily, there was a boss there to kill. Unfortunately, killing the Erd Tree avatar only yielded 3,600 runes.
See, now that's some bullshit.
A lot of fucking around later, I found a chest that pretty much just teleported me to buttfuck nowhere. I didn't really know where I was, but I was like, okay, cool. I found a grace in front of it and a giant that was lying down. I almost lost my shit because at this point, I would rather just kill a rotating door of bosses and mini bosses since killing mobs don't net you that much runes anymore. To be honest, I don't really plan on retrying bosses for hours upon end, so I'd really rather be over leveled to Kingdom Come when squaring up against bosses. Anyway, the giant got me 2,992 runes. It's not a lot, but at this point, I'm just happy to get at least 4 digits and 1 kill. As I was starting to gain a little bit of confidence in my skill, I boldly decided to face Smaragd the Magic Dragon back in Lucaria. Unfortunately, Smaragd was too much of an immature child that he won't hand over his runes in exchange for his life. So I was like, whatever man, Spyro is a better dragon than you, and promptly left to visit the blacksmith, upgraded my greatsword to +5, and went back to Limgrave to farm once again. After a lot of gallivanting across the lands between, I found an elevator that showed me yet another jaw-dropping piece of art. A scenery so serene, it managed to stop my ADHD and watch the star-like lights of the inside of this cave grew in numbers, but I had a job to do which was farm more runes. So I snapped out of it and pushed David Attenborough's nature documentary narration voice out of my head. Anyway, after killing a few dudes in Seafra River and realizing that they're too tanky for my liking, I decided to go back up and murder a bear. While running around Limgrave, I also came across Bernal, which showed me a bunch of Ashes of Wars. Apparently, these are skills that can change the special move of your weapon, but unfortunately, this to me was useless as fuck because I couldn't see the actual animation of what the skill was. I'm not gonna put something on my weapon that could be the slowest skill ever known to mankind, nor will I put something that's straight up ass. Not to mention, I'm not gonna use my already important and short supply of runes for a probably useless skill, so I ignored him and left. A few moments later, I came across a sentient jar, asking for some help. I was at the time very wary of anything that talked to me in this game, not gonna lie. The only people I trusted were the people inside the round table hold, since as far as I know, you can't swing your weapon in that area except for the place where you find that stupid witch cap boy. But whatever. I decided he was asking for help, so I helped. After giving him a Major League Baseball level swing, he flew a good 2 to 3 meters from where he was. I talked to Alexander a few times and he told me about a combat festival. Apparently in this world where combat is so common, they still have other activities, such as combat. Whoever the fuck thought of this should get fired immediately. Anyway, after leaving Alexander, I killed a generic metalhead fan, a skeleton rowing a boat with a brass instrument, and promptly died because of an invader. At this point, I got completely sidetracked and I was apparently setting foot onto DJ Caelid, absolutely forgetting that I was farming runes to kill that stupid magical dog. But after a lot of fucking around, killing knights, peasants, and other creatures, as well as almost dying to this world's version of a tactical airstrike, I finally went back to the Academy of Raya Lucaria to put down this dog. Red Wolf of Radagon was a tough fight. Him mixing up his fast and slower attacks really puts you on your toes. Not to mention, a really quick lunging bite attack that stings. But after dying for a solid 10 minutes repeatedly, I killed him. Fuck you! And got a whopping 14k runes, enough to level me up once. Dear God. After that disappointment, I ran around the academy, discovering that apparently there's more to the area than I thought. Previous bosses usually just move you to whatever the next big area is, but here I'm still within the academy, so I guess this place is huge. Anyway, as I was looking around, I got Indiana Jones by a huge metal ball, tricked the dude to fall down into a bottomless pit, and realized that the reason why Red Wolf of Radagon was kinda easy to kill was because there's another boss in the area. Though, before I had to kill this woman, I had a few laughs with the intro cutscene. Anyway, as per usual, it's time for me to beat some ass, and in this case, I had to commit multiple counts of pedicide. Once again, to my surprise, Renala wasn't that hard of a fight. The children, though they were creepy as hell, but at the same time goofy, especially when they were being pulled up like they're being abducted by some unseen UFO. After killing Renalia, unfortunately, I felt another wave of aimlessness. At this point, I had no idea where to go, so I opted to just move north of my position on the map, which landed me at Caria Manor, where I got jump scared by a sentient fucking hand. I ran as far as possible, only to discover a boss room out of nowhere. Here I got to fight Royal Knight Loretta, one of the most annoying boss fights I've ever experienced, mainly because I was so used to being able to ride Torrent when fighting enemies that are on horseback. But now Torrent can't be asked to appear inside a castle. Whatever though, I practically got beaten to submission multiple times, but I was able to finally snag a victory after 20 minutes of trying. After beating Loretta, I finally found an exit to this godforsaken castle, and it led me to Three Sisters. This is where I found Ronnie, the girl almost everyone in this game is simping for, and for good reason. Hold up. Make that 4 good reasons. I talked to Rani and immediately decided to serve her just because I'd rather have someone tell me what the fuck to do in this big ass sandbox. Anyway, as I was getting acquainted with Rani's henchmen, one of them being kind of a dick and was asking me to do something, I would have murdered him if not for the fact that it might fuck up the game. After leaving Rani's magic bouncy castle, for some reason, the game would not allow me to leave the area. I wasn't even able to teleport. Weird, but okay. After visiting Celevis, who I pretty much ignored since he was being such a fucking dick, I went off to meet up with Blythe, but not before I tried to kill Smarag a 3rd time. I finally was able to kill him after he burned my ass twice and caused me to leave. I also tried killing Adula, but after I dealt some damage to him, he just flew away. Kind of a dick move, since he was already at half HP, but okay. Anyway, I went to Siafa River to try and meet up with Blythe in Nokron. Unfortunately, with this game being as cryptic and unhelpful as it is, I spent a good 30 minutes of running around to search for him only to not find him. Jesus Christ, guys, a little help would have been useful, but that's too much to ask from a From Software game apparently. In my infinite wisdom and annoyance, I tried killing these guys, but for some reason they were really tanky and I couldn't deal enough damage to them. Since I couldn't find Blythe and I had no idea how to progress, I decided to explore the unexplored sections of the map. So off I went to Bellum Church to see what's there, though there wasn't much to discover near the area, or more like I had no idea what this place does. Again, I pretty much just ran all over the map aimlessly. I ran into another mine that was riddled with smithing stones, which I looted. I got to ruin-strewn precipice, and I came across Makar, who was in dire need of a freaking antacid for his stomach acid laced with magma. After unceremoniously killing him, I got to Alta's Plateau, where I came across mobs that were pretty hard to kill. I pretty much took it as a sign to get the hell out of there, especially after encountering the stupid Elder Dragon that comes crashing down like he's the main event in a WWE match. Anyway, after remembering what Alexander told me about the Festival of Combat, I went to DJ Caelid and tried to find a way inside of Redbane Castle. And by sheer fucking luck, I managed to find Blythe, who was in fact not in Nokron, but was here. Anyway, he tells me Radon is doing something that's screwing with Rani's plan. I had no idea who Radon was, so I was like, whatever dude, can you point in the direction where this Radon guy is? Save me some time of running around this whole continent looking for one dude. And luckily, this is the place where you can fight Radon and his poor horse. Seriously, why did From Software think giving a huge guy a comically small-sized horse would make for an intimidating boss? I mean, obviously they were going for intimidation, right? Anyway, reality hits me in the face like Radon hits me with his stupid arrows, as it dawned on me that I was in fact probably not ready for this boss, and quite frankly, this whole dying to a boss then farming a fuckload of runes routine is getting kinda old. Given that I was already playing this game for like most of the day, I tried a few times to fight Radon, but at my current state, I was dealing shit damage and he was dealing like 30% of my health bar every time he hit me. So I got out of there and farmed more runes. Switched the sword that I was using to something that has better attribute scaling, tried to kill a bunch of bosses and failed, upgraded my new sword. After doing all of that, however, I was still unable to kill Radon. It was already getting late and I was already exhausted after playing the game for the entire day. I got out of my seat, turned my PC off, and actually went to bed. Thank you very much for watching. and consider joining my Patreon. Until next time.